following announcement has been paid for by the Celtic World Order.
Hello, good evening, late evening. Welcome back to Celtic World Order podcast. As always, I'm Steve O'Matt, and yes, it is a super duper late wee episode here, but why not? Let's get right in about it because what a wild 24 hours it's been to be a Celtic supporter. Absolutely crazy. It's summed up supporting Celtic the last 24 hours, hasn't it? All the excitement of the game, getting put through the mill. Were we going to? Were we no going to? The way we won it. And then, of course, on the highs and the excitement and everything that goes with our victory, Champions League, next stage qualification in the bag, well, the curveballs start coming in, don't they? Because we call it the silly season when it's transfer window time. But did you see that coming? And did you see it coming that quickly? Probably not. So let's get right in about it. But before we do, as we always say, welcome back to the channel. If you're a returning subscriber, then thank you very much for your continued support. We really do appreciate it. If you want to help the channel, you can donate to it. It's $1.99 via the members section. There's no additional content. It just puts all this together. And as I say, it's greatly appreciative of that. If you're new, however, make sure that you do one thing and one thing only. And it costs you absolutely nothing to do that. Hit the subscribe button. Give it a wee thumbs up and hit the bell icon. That means every time we do this, every time we go live, every time we do an upload, you'll get notified. You'll never miss any of our content and you can join the community and get in about talking about the club we all love. If you want to get us elsewhere, we're on social media. We're on X at CWPod1888. We're on Blue Sky. Catch up on Spotify. And if you're into that kind of thing, there's a TikTok as well. Well, what did I say? Let's get into it. Let's get down to business because there's a lot to be said, and as you've seen it, well, Kyo-Goes and his window opens and all close, sliding doors, revolving doors, all the door puns, because it looks as if Jota or Jota is going to be coming back. I'll take it. I mean, we're going to need a striker and we'll go on to that, but who would have thought it? We've all seen the memes. We've all seen the Scarface push it to the limit. We've all seen that with them laughing, big lol. And look, let's not kid ourselves on. This is some bit of business that we can do here. If we can get £10 million for, yes, one of our most valuable assets, indeed, but also as well in the footballing scape. He's 30 years old. He wants to move on. It's a good deal all round. It's definitely a good deal all around, and particularly when you can get a guy that you sold for £25 million in for a fraction of it. It looks right good, doesn't it? So we're going to talk about that. So let us know what your thoughts are. Fire them in. What's your thoughts on Jota? Give us some Jota stories, if you will. What will be your lasting memories of Jota? Favourite goal? What did you think of him? Where does he rank in the hierarchy of Celtic strikers of recent times and of all time? Let's hear what you're thinking about Jota. What you thinking about him as well? You know, what's Jota? Is that exciting? Is that tickling your fancy? Is that exactly what we need? Do we need more? What do you want? Hit me with it. We'll try and get as many of these up as we possibly can because as you can see, I'm here on my Todd, but that's perfectly fine because you guys are all going to keep me company. Yep, I'll start bringing them up. As you know, it's McLaughlin saying here, and I was talking to my mate Steve-O, he'll be watching no doubt. It's disappointing because it's happened so quickly, and I think deep down when we saw the agent change and we saw the rumours and things like that, we kind of maybe did see that was going to happen. We kind of thought that eventually it would happen. Did we think it would happen as quickly as that? Some of you could be a wee sort of a bit cynical and say, yeah, definitely that's the Celtic way. We were maybe holding off to make sure that we got over the line, Champions League, got that money, knew where we were at before we acted. Hopefully we've got something in the back burner. But yeah, do you know, it would have been nice to know in no uncertain terms he was going to leave, to give him that classic walking off the pitch moment, because he's definitely going to be one of the modern greats, and in the fullness of time when we look back, he'll be looked upon very, very fondly, and it would have been perfect to give him an appropriate send-off. But hey, that's football, and if that's the way it has to be, I'm sure it'll be something like a video like we got for the probably returning Jota, so we'll take that as well. And yet, you know what? We will be sad to see him move, but it's time. We have to move on. Sometimes you just got to rip off the plaster, take that wee bit of pain, and look at it objectively. We've got into Champions League. We're in a strong position in the league. You know, we've got a cup in the bag. You're always going to need that top quality striker, of course. You know, the options there. We'll go on to that a wee bit, I'm sure. Johnny, Kenny, there's some names floating about. Krista Garden, maybe that's the one that's going to be. You're always going to need to have that quality striker. And there's no doubt that you are giving away for that. But if we can add Jota in there to supplement we've got from Kun, we've got loads of goals coming from Maeda. Maybe he does going to step up. Maybe we've got somebody there. But yeah, there sometimes comes a point where you've got to sell him. And it was going to happen. It was going to happen. As I says, I'll be a wee sort of a bit disappointed. I'll be a lot disappointed. Don't kid me on here. I'm thinking, how are we going to deal with this one? But yeah, a great player. And look at him this season. 12 goals, 4 assists so far this season. Not exactly firing all cylinders, but by God, look at last night, and we'll go on to that. He could have added a hat-trick, and it would have been amazing, would it have not, if he walked out? It would have maybe taken the edge off a wee bit, where it almost feels as if I'm sure he was buzzing that Celtic get through, but maybe that wee sort of in his head, he knew that he was going, and you saw the reactions to the goals, and if he could have been signing off with goals, hat-trick would have been brilliant, wouldn't it? But if he could have signed off properly with a goal, I'm sure he would have got that real connection, that sort of right, I've left you something type of thing. But, you know, that's the way it happens, that's that. But let's see some opinions. Let's get them in here. San Fran saying, big mistake made. It's hard to tell. I think there's no doubt. See, as soon as he changed his agent and he moved to the super agent, that was very calculated. That was someone who had eyes in the prize. And there's no doubt, I think, that Kyogo absolutely loves Celtic. He's very invested in the club. You can see that. I've heard people, and it's funny, isn't it? Because despite how much a model, role model, perfect professional Kyogo, like all the other Japanese guys have been, you're still hearing some sort of dissenting voices where people are saying, these guys are just mercenaries, they don't get it. And I don't think that. I'll never have that feeling. I don't actually think that, Kyogo's going to go away, that he's some sort of mercenary, that he didn't care, and it's all about himself. But he's at a stage now, but he's 30, and that, as I say, in the football landscape, that isn't old. But the reality is, he's 30, and despite his goal-scoring record for ourselves, they still look upon the Scottish League as being a bit sort of tin pot. I'm pretty sure if he had a lot more goals in the Champions League, a lot more goals, had a couple more goals, it would maybe change the sort of playing field a wee bit for him. I think when you look at it, at his age, coming from Scotland, teams are not really going to spend much more than we're getting here for the 10 million. If we're honest, you could probably play hardball and try and hold out for a wee bit. But I think when we look at all the optics of it, when we look at the sort of various moving parts of the deal, that it makes sense. Guys of his age and that maybe go for a lot more if they're playing in a top 5 league. Even at his age, if they're doing what he's doing at Celtic in a top 5 league, at his age, you probably get a lot more money. But I do think that we still sometimes get the bit of the Scottish League tariff, if you want to call it that. I know when we're looking at players, the manager says we don't look at the league, we look at the value of the player. And I get that. But as I say, I think there's various moving parts to this one. So disappointing, but he'll be looking at it. He'll be saying, it's not really been happening for me at Celtic. In the time that I've been here, in terms of progression, he's got one eye in the World Cup. It's probably going to be his last major tournament. So, of course, he's wanting to try and do everything that he wants to try and get that. Because, again, some of our players, whether English, Scottish, whatever, playing for your country isn't quite as exciting for our guys. But a lot of these other foreign countries, particularly, you see the pride that the Japanese guys take, it really is a big deal. It's like a be-all and end-all for them. And you can understand he wants to be part of that. So, and I get it. And again, as San Fran saying, he's going out to a team who are they're struggling. That's why they need to get in a proven striker. They're hoping that they can bring him in. He can kickstart their league sort of revival and keep them in the league. It might backfire, but that's not for us to worry about. He's a grown man and he can make his own choice and things like that. And I agree, as Dom said, it is a good deal for Kyo-Goes. I've just been saying here, nobody wants to see him go, but at the same time, you've got to take a wee stand back and say, right, okay, doke, cool. And again, looking at the prices here, as McLaughlin's saying, when all said and done, with the figures are getting floated about, we've made all the profit on Jota. You're going to buy him back for, I believe it's just under 8 million. And when you're sold on Kyogo, there's 2 million there. You then look at the 5 million that we got from the other night there, plus then there'll be place pot, depending on how it finishes. When all said and done, that's the bones of another striker, isn't it? Why not make it happen? Go mental, Celtic. Go and get out that. Go and get the checkbook out and do the least Celtic thing. But no, this one for me, I just think we've got to look at it and say, cheers, mate. Cheers, because he's given us some absolutely top draw moments against Rangers, record against Rangers, some cracking goals. And he's certainly given a younger generation of Celtic fan, not comparing, but he's given those wee guys running in the park, he's gave them their Larson. That's what he's done. He's they're his Larson. That's what they are. So he'll be highly thought of the very younger generation, even some of the people ourselves, but he's been this young generation's Larson, and that will go down as well. And yeah, just a wee side note, absolutely Wilson is, yes, I love it. Just, snatched from them. It's pandemonium in the way end. Enjoy the bus ride home, because that one, in fact, that's if you even get up the road. It'll be Remand Chester Part 2. I'm pretty sure that's what will be happening down there. But anyway, I'm digressing away. As I say, loads and loads of stuff here to try and cover. But absolutely, starting off with Kyogo, it's all but done. It's done. You'll be waking up tomorrow and he'll be sitting there, because you know yourself, as soon as this man here, big beardy boss, big Fabrizio Romano, everybody's favourite and least hated and most hated at the same time, because he tells you stories that you want to hear, but he also comes in and tells you the stuff that you just don't want to hear. You're like, put it away, Fab. Put it away. Sit down. Give me a headpiece. I'm fed up with it. And that's it. So, yeah. When he's saying it, that it's going to happen. The one that he's not giving us any update on is that Kieran Tierney one, as I say. And that's something as well. Apparently swirling words that, Tierney's maybe wanting to do right by Arsenal. They knows they're in a wee bit of sticky wick, maybe stay about to the end of the season. But what I would say there is absolutely not Celtic. And this is the one thing about this deal. Fab came out to move on to another chat we're talking, obviously. And he says, be excited, it's going to happen. Tells you that, right? Now, as we know, Tierney's turned away offers from other clubs down south, and he's pre-contract. He could sign right now. He could have signed in the first pre-contract. I'm coming in the summer. Why has that not happened? That really, really confuses me, and myself and Steve in the comments were talking about this today. Why has Tierney not committed pen to paper to Celtic? Now, I've no doubt in my mind that it's going to happen and he wants to come back, and it's pretty much a given. But why has he not? Why has he not signed? Why have we no just took that step and says, it's going to happen. It's going to be in the summer. And then that puts you in a wee bit of power and control, because, at this stage, Celtic should be going, right, Arsenal, so, pre-contract, no, it's coming to us, and you just want rid of him now, and you get him in the door. So it kind of confuses me. I think it's going to happen. Of course it's going to happen. But it just really, really confuses me that we have not announced that, even as the pre-contract, because he definitely wants to come in. Why have we not done it? Weird. But no, back to Kyogo. It leaves us with the striker void. Adamida, 13 games. I'm not counting last night as a goal. I'll take it. but I'm not counting as a goal. Right, so 13 goals. Hopefully it's a big shot in the arm for him and it pushes him on. But there's no doubt in terms of out-and-out striker, it leaves us with a wee bit of a crisis. Now, I'm seeing the comments. My head are through the middle and all. Yeah, do you know what? We could do that. But no, I don't want that. I want an actual full-blown pedigree striker. Somebody that is their key job. They are the striker and that's it. And it's quite clear, question marks over Johnny Kenny, question marks over Ida so far. We need that firepower. And is it going to be the big man? Is it going to be Christgården? Well, see, this one here, it keeps on swirling around. And if sources and reports are to believe, this was one of the many moving parts where we all thought that the manager would have been happy to let Kyogo go during the summer. Remember that first season when Kyogo was there and the manager wasn't getting the best out of a lot of our players and we were questioning, does it work to the system and the way we play? Part of the problem was when you take Jota out of the team, kind of funny that he'll come back, but when you take Jota out of the team, you take a bad out of the team, we didn't have that quality to find those runs, to put it on a plate for him. Maeda gives you all the work rate of the day, but his final product is severely lacking. So naturally, that was always going to be a hindrance to the progression of Kyogo in that role and scoring. So, when you looked at it, we thought, I think there's certain players in this team, and like Hatati was one as well, that if the right offer comes in, the manager would be happy to let him go. So, if you believe the stories, that was going to be happening. Kyogo was going to be going, and Christgården was an agreed thing that was supposedly going to be happening. Many moving parts, it doesn't happen. But one thing is it's never went away. It's continually popped up. It went quiet, and the name came out again. And I'm a great believer that if things keep on coming round, that there's definitely something there. Thank you very much. There's definitely something there. And it's not by chance that the name keeps on coming round. Now, what is interesting, again, I think Christgården would be on paper, and I hate that phrase, the perfect replacement. He fits the criteria of our scouting. He fits the criteria of our transfer policy. Young, promising, tick, get him in, playing in a decent league. We have you moving him on, developing him. Now, if you look at Christgården, I've had a wee I spy him and pretty decent in terms of what he's been doing. But he hasn't been playing because the league finishes there early, remember. He's not really kicked a ball professionally from the end of the year, I think in November, December. And, that's one, that's one of the ones where it's also frustrating because if we knew that we were going to be selling Jota in the head now, if we were going to be selling Kyogo, you want an oven ready, you want somebody ready to hit the ground running. Now, what have we been sort of going through our head with Adam Ida since he's come in? The contrast from when we had him in January, when he came in and he hit the ground running and he really made a difference, to that going away, not getting the pre-season and coming in late where you're kind of saying, right, he's had loads of game time, but he needs to get himself up to speed. At a time when you're leaving somebody who has been doing it week in, week out for you, or at least on the most part, and then you bring in a guy who has all the attributes to be a success with you, but he's not up to match fitness. That's what frustrates me. Because see if I says to you right now, yep, we're going to sell Kyogo £10 million, or if I says to you last month, we're going to sell Kyogo in January, we're going to sell him 10 million, we'll be in the Champions League next phase in the bag, and in that window, we're going to bring back Jota, we're going to bring in Christgården, and we're going to bring in Kieran Tierney. You'd be like, yes, what a window, that is amazing, that's everything we need, tick, right? Now, don't take this out of context. I'm not saying that if we go on and do that right now, that isn't a good window. But what I mean is, it's three guys that haven't played a lot of football. So the players and the quality are great, and the quality's there. making it a good window, but the readiness isn't there. And that's where it makes it a frustrating window because, yeah, they will obviously come good, but you might need to wait to get the best out of them. And at a time when you are going into the next phase of the Champions League, guaranteed, and when you are in top and you want to keep smashing home and dominating the league, you don't want to have to wait for folk to get up to speed. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's my slight gripe about it. Classic Celtic business, the way that we do thing. You're getting in the right guys, but kind of under the wrong circumstances. I want Jota that's been playing. I don't want Jota that's, this season had 10 appearances, 1 goal, 1 assist. I'm sure he'll tear it up with Celtic. But my point is, I don't want a Jota that was playing at El Ittihad and 25 appearances, 5 goals, 1 assist, and about 5 million in his bank because he wasn't playing. That's what I mean. So there's no doubt the quality's there. He's a fantastic player. It's absolutely brilliant. But get him at the right time. Get them when they're ready. I don't want Big Brendan saying, Jota, he's just joined the team and his fitness isn't quite where we'd want to be. Blah 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 blah. I want Jota coming in, chipping guys, and all this and smashing folk, and that's what and it will come, but we need it now. That's what I mean. We need it now. And same with the striker. Kyogo goes out. He'll hopefully rise to the occasion, but he hasn't been doing it. He's had 13 appearances, he's nearly 600 minutes, and he's not hit the back of the net properly during that time. Maybe that last night will be the fire under his arse that kicks him on. But my point being is Kyogo's gone. He's now history. And whoever we bring in, if it is going to be Christgården, which looks like the most logical replacement here, he's going to need to get up to speed. That's all I'm saying. So anyway, look, I'm going to give me 2 seconds. I'll have a wee quick run through some of these comments, bring them in because it's fire and there's a lot of these in here, so absolutely love it. As I say, let me keep on bringing your Kyogo moments in here and we'll bring some of them up here. Jota, is that doing it for you? Is that lighting the fire in your belly? Is it getting you all excited? Does it make you want to go out and dress like, the bold Mr. Michael and get the denims on and the shades and all that? But that's the thing, is, it is baffling, Steve. See the amount of fans that can't get, rid of him. And this is the thing, and we've come on here and we've spoke about Kyogo. There's no doubt that he is frustrating. Remember what I said the other night when I was on with Paddy and Paul and I was talking about Celtic players in the 70-30, where I says Celtic players have got that 30% that they don't quite have, and that's why they're at Celtic. Kyogo's very much that. He's a brilliant player. Fantastic player. But see if he had that extra 30%, see, even at 30 years of age, he wouldn't be going to Rennes. He's a very good striker, but he's not an elite striker. And that's why he's going for 10 million. And that's why he's going to Rennes. That's why he's not going to Serie A or something like that. That's why he's no going to Spain. That's why he's going to Rennes to help them fight relegation. It's a top 5 league. He's going to be playing good teams. That's why he's going to Rennes, because he's missing that wee 30%. He's missing that killer instinct where, he'll score a shit ton of goals. But I think it's kind of funny because last night I'd actually go to say that's probably in a long, long time Kyogo's best chances to return rate. I know they didn't count, but everything that get put in front of me fucked into net. That's just the most Celtic thing in the world, isn't it? When you're leaving it, a guy's leaving and he kind of arguably has his most efficient game and all the goals don't count. Because normally that would be a case of, Kyogo would have about 6 or 7 before he put one of them in the net. So it's absolutely funny. But yeah, and that's the thing as well. There's a lot of people saying, and we'll complain about the replacement. We might complain about the replacement. I've no doubt, as I said, I've had a wee look at Christgården, and I think, personally speaking, as I say, for me, I think he looks very good. I think he ticks all the boxes. I'm not quite sure what people are looking for in a replacement. I know there's this proven striker thing. He's an up-and-comer. He's an up-and-comer. I think he's about 15 goals this season and about a handful of assists, 4 or 5 assists. Last season, it was about half that. But for a young guy, he's a fairly good back-to-back seasons at Brøndby, who are, outside sort of the top 3 team, but they're sort of languishing. They're in that sort of mid-table. They're very yo-yo, up and down, unpredictable. So he's he's almost like the Aberdeen, if you will, the Aberdeen of that league, where they're a good team, they're up and down, they're unpredictable. So a decent return for him there, and quite a relatively competitive league as well. So very akin, I'd imagine, to what he come up against with Celtic. But January certainly was never going to be the time to get in that brilliant, amazing striker that was going to hit the ground running and make it all happening. So very, very, very interesting to see if that one comes out, because listen, we need the striker, and we'll go on to that. But talking of strikers as well, because Kyogo, we know, thank you, brother, thank you very much, good night, sweet prince, he'll be moving on. It leaves us with a void, doesn't it? Now we look at what we've got in situ, and as I say, we've obviously got Maeda. He can be played through the middle, great goal returner thing, but you want something that you can hang your hat on. I'm not into that option. Johnny Kenny, as I say, is weird because they came back, he went out, he was developed, he scored a barrel load of goals, good performances in the Conference League, but came on at that cameo, looked really, really good, looked really sharp, and then the last game against Dundee, where we were needing a goal, we brought on Palmer, just mental. And there's still talk that he might go out. But in terms of what we do have also on our doorstep, and I'm not suggesting that these are Kyogo, I'm just mentioning it because we get strikers. Young Cummins, I've seen that Portsmouth are sniffing about, so he might well be going out to them. He can sign on a pre-contract agreement. I remember 24 goals in 24 games and 6 in the Youth Champions League. Brilliant numbers for the B team. But he could be another one that slips through the net. So, yeah, we Celtic should be going out and we should be buying replacements with all the riches that we've got and doing it. But we should also be looking at what we've got in-house and trying to utilise it and having it around and giving it a real proper look. And I think it would be madness to let Cummins go or Johnny Kenny go out, whether it's Cummins getting sold or whether it's Johnny Kenny get back out on loan. Now, I'm not saying that these guys are going to be a solution, but let's say whoever we bring in, whether it's Christy Gardner or other, maybe, as I say, isn't up to speed and can't hit the ground running. Well, wouldn't it be nice just to have those options there in case you needed them? So that for me is very, very strange. But again, another name that's been coming up, and it came round again today, and it's also, we've seen Big Fab, but also this one here, Anthony Joseph, he's came back out and he's re-mentioned Louis Barry, who's obviously at Villa, out on loan at Stockport. We spoke about him before. So far this season, League One at Stockport. Make of that what you think. Very competitive league, very hard league for teams to get out of. But 16 goals and 1 assist at Stockport this season. Really good return. And last season, he was also out on loan at them again. 9 goals and 4 assists. So, again, the progression there for that last season's loan to where he is now, and arguably if he was to stay at Stockport, that's only going to continue. For me, I said this earlier on when I spoke to Paddy and I spoke to Paul about Louis Barry. For me, Gary Hooper vibes, and I like that. Seeing that Villa want to keep hold of him, they're offering a contract, but again, I think he kind of really knows, much like some of our guys, that probably his chance getting into that Villa squad, particularly with the way that they're going, is slim to none. So this could be a really good opportunity for Celtic to come in here. Again, the fees that we're talking here are around about sort of £7 million, which is lofty. But again, the good thing that I like about him is the fact that he can be a striker and a winger. Now, I know folks say, and I've just says, I want a striker. He's been deployed as a striker, but he can also come out off the wing. So he's got real versatility. I think it's just one of these guys that's able to make it happen. And I'm there for that. I like that level of versatility. When we look, if Jota comes back, Maeda, great options out there. We can switch the wingers. So you could move Maeda over to cover for Kuhn. Good options. I like that. But the Louis Barry one, that's reared its head again. And for me, I think that's definitely definitely one that I think Celtic should be looking at. So, yeah, there's a lot of moving parts. We're on the 23rd. Got about a week to make this happen. Celtic know where the money's at now. My take on it, my view, where I'm standing is there's absolutely no excuse. I'm expecting come early as tomorrow. I'll just say it. I'm a weekend treat. Don't worry. Jota's come back. Here we go. I'm expecting. I want a full blown. I want a wee scat. I want it to be a Sapman KT comeback type thing, or Sapman Jota. One of the things. Why not get them on there? Get Big Brendan in there and I'll get him in the video. I want him doing the boozer with Jota and Tierney. Doing the brazen head. That's what I want. Geezer. That's it. Signing video. Maybe a bit of, I don't know, Gotta Have Faith or something playing in the back. Make it all happen. Make it happen. But there's no excuse for us to go out now. Absolutely no excuse. And as I say, it's all about timing, isn't it? And that's the most frustrating thing. When you look at the ridiculous finances of Celtic, what we've got in the bank, it is a bit mental that it feels like we waited to see. We'll just wait and see. We'll just wait and see if we get through the Champions League. That's frustrating, and I can understand. I can really understand. But now, with that Champions League, can register, can play against Villa if they come in. We know that. But you've got 2 games to play. They'll be able to play for there. So, invest it. They've paid their way. Last night, paid for it. Jota coming in, 2 million on top. Making money out of Burnaby, whoever done that, by the way, giving him a big, massive medal. And then you look at all the other plankton that we've managed to make money off and we've no touch during the summer onwards. So there's an absolute pile of income from moving on mediocre players that is still sitting there. Absolutely, fam. Give us a wee bit of double denim. I want backcombed hair. I want aviators. I want it all, and I want it now, Celtic. Geese it right now. Get them in the door. McLaughlin's saying Vardy wants to finish. But we like to be Vardy. That always kept on swirling about, didn't it? Absolutely swirling about. Look, I would take a lone striker. I would like to get, if Christgard's a guy that they want, get him in the door and get him in pronto, so he's in situ and you can get him in for the pre-season and all that, bed him in, hopefully hits the ground running, but bed him in this season to wherever. I don't want to be running about, but if for whatever stupid Celtic world reason that can't happen, then I'll take a known recognised good striker that's just maybe out of favour. I'll do that. If we have to plug a big, massive Kyogo shaped hole with a temp, as much as I don't like it, as much as it's completely unacceptable given where we are financially and knowing that we're going to Champions League, I just want a striker. Give me a striker. There we go. That's it. Get a loan striker. Get a striker in. Do not come out with that Edward part. I've seen that. I think he's meant to be going over to... was he not meant to be going over to the MLS? I think he was getting touted as being an option there. And then, funnily enough as well, he was getting looked at by Rennes as well in Wales. So obviously that's not happening. But anyway, I'll take that as well. All unfit and no good for the Champions League, absolutely. But we'll see, like, the idea bar stuff, it's a bit lazy, isn't it? Is Jota lazy? What's your thoughts? Is Jota a lazy one? Because I don't care. It's lazy as fuck, man. I'll take it. I'm all over it. Because I wasn't ready for Jota to leave. Look at Jota. As I says, at Rennes, 10 appearances, 1 goal, 1 assist. There. Elita had whatever, fake league crap. Celtic, 83 appearances, 28 goals and 26 assists. Give me some of that right now. That's exactly what we need. And I tell you what, I think there would be the second coming of Jota will be better. We always talk about that tricky second album. Nah, I think he's went away. We saw the video and I genuinely believe at the time when he left it was heartfelt. Genuinely heartfelt. I think he really bought into the club. But at the same time, he bought into that. He's got a pile of it now. and he's been disenfranchised. He's floated about. The last two clubs were just garbage. He's got that money now, and I think you'll find somebody much like Brendan Rodgers coming back to Celtic, feeling that he owes something to Celtic, feeling that he needs to right a few wrongs in his head. And I genuinely believe, I know birthday card pushing on it, Steve-O, but I genuinely believe that he felt at home at Celtic. And again, we talk about these guys being mercenaries, and I know they are, but I do believe that you can have an affiliation and a real love for something, but when you're presented with something, now I know like you or I or anybody else out there that are diehard Celtic supporters, I'd play for Celtic for absolutely fuck all. I'd do it. You know, I would just being able to pull the top on it, and that would be dream enough for me, right? But we've got to plug yourself in. It's a career and it's a business and it's short-lived. And sometimes, particularly if you go, well, no matter what you think of the Saudi League and all the sort of background, is it sport washing, all that, you remove all that and you think to yourself, I only need to play here for a year and my family and my family's family are made for life. That changes the goalposts a bit. So you can understand, I can understand it. I can understand it. You chase the big pot of gold and it didn't work. But in terms of now, I think he'll be a guy that will come back with a rejuvenated view towards Celtic. So if he comes back to Celtic, I reckon whatever he signs his contract, I reckon you could get Kyogo years out of him. 3-year minimum. Because I think he'll, second time round, he'll be like, right, I'm coming back and I want to stay. I genuinely, I would be shocked to my core if Jota comes back and has a 1-2 good seasons, 1.5 good seasons and disappears. I think he'll come back, as I says, and he'll want to buy into it. And if you've got guys like Rodgers there, happy to bring him back. I think he knew at the time it was one of the ones. He got to see what Jota had to offer, but I don't think he really get the arm around him. And really, it was too far gone by that point. He was gone. He just couldn't save it, and he had to just watch as it happened. I think that is different. You get him coming in. Guys like, you know, it'll be the welcome home with all the guys that was there, McGregor and that. But then when you add in guys like Schmeichel, I know he's only got one more season. You add in the likes of a returning Kieran Tierney and that buy-in there. I think what he thought he knew about Celtic and what he thought of Celtic are just going to be completely just, you know, exponential growth. And I genuinely believe the second album of Jota is going to be far better than the first. Bookmark it, write it, record me, cut me. It is going to be better than the first time. And I'll be really interested, though, to see how it shapes the team. Because look at what we've got in Kuhn. We've got a rejuvenated Maeda. And again, this might come into it, where it's going to be Ida is going to be another striker. And we maybe just move Maeda in. Who knows? I mean, I think that one for me is absolutely evening. As I say, these are thick and fast. The comments are coming. Absolutely trying my best to get them in, but as I say, no, I'm excited about this. I'm very excited about the prospect of Jota coming back, and it really does. I know that it's not a striker, but it just takes a wee bit of that gut punch of Kyogo getting out the door. It sort of takes it away. It does take it away. But again, just to come back to what I says right at the top of this when I started getting into it, I think that the funny thing is the three players that we could be looking at, Jota, Tierney and Christegarden, if they're going to be the three, brilliant window. But in classic Celtic fashion, you're bringing in guys who need to hit the ground running. But it's by the by. So anyway, yes, Kyogo off. That'll be wrapped up. Didn't want to believe it. Everybody was on the plane tracker and all that. And then we saw the pictures and arrivals. Oh, there we go. And then the manager then comes out and says, I hope he's going to be on the bench for the weekend. So, you know, you take that, and you take it as you find it. But it's amazing how quickly things happen, isn't it? But also, obviously, again, frustrates you a wee bit where you turn around and you go at yourself. Every other team operates dead fast, don't they? It's like, aye, get him in. Whereas we're like, start the month, Kieran Tierney's come back, 10th, Kieran Tierney's come back, 18th, Kieran Tierney's come back this morning, Kieran Tierney's come back. Come fucking do it. Get him up the road. And that's what's going to happen. So anyway, I'm going to keep my eyes on it. I'm looking forward to it. But let's rewind back. Let's talk to how we got here. As it says, it's the domino effect of Champions League success. What did you think of the game last night? Try and get some opinions on that there as well. What a bizarre game. It was the most Celtic in Europe Celtic game ever, wasn't it? We started off and it's mental. Absolutely mental. Scoring 6 minutes. Well, we thought we'd score. Kyo-Goes says 1, 2, 3 goals. And it was fast, it was lightning quick. We looked up for a while. Yes, let's go. Here we go. And it's a brilliant ball. I wish Paddy was on because I could tear into him. Because he says, he's been on a wee Engels hate train lately. That pass is it's beautiful, isn't it? It's basically Hatate went like that later on. See a pass, watch this. Just replicated it a wee bit better and a wee bit further back in the pitch. Brilliant ball through. Kyo-Goes, I says, ironically, and what's probably going to be his last game, he's sharpest all season. Brilliant ball through, and he finishes it. He just buries it. Absolutely blasts it by the goalkeeper, who, by the way, a lot of folk were greeting about him getting the man of the match, but there's no doubt about it. I know that from our green-tinted specs, you could probably argue that Big Casper was probably the man of the match, got the double save and then the late save, and that was worth its weight in gold and all that sort of cliches. But the boy Keller was fantastic. He kept that game. I know he shipped 3 and they didn't count, but the amount of saves he had in between as well were fantastic. But that first one, absolutely blistering play, brilliant ball through. Kyogo looks absolutely rapid, sharp, and kills it back of the net. And it's one of the ones. It's offside. As it's offside, it's very, very marginal, but great finish and great start. And I'm thinking, right, here we go. And we really did the game. It looked as if we were just going to absolutely lay them to waste and fully the speed, the intensity, the pressing, the passing, everything was just click, 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 click. It looked amazing. And then, Kuhn, he was coming alive, constant chances. Very quickly thereafter, he weaves in, takes 1, 2, 3 past it. Again, Kuhn's another guy, he probably could have had 1 or 2 goals. Like, just, I wouldn't say wasteful, but just didn't quite take it up on it. And then, of course, we get another chance. Kyogo steam again, straight in, bursts in, just puts it slightly wide. Everything in that game, that first half, was absolutely flying. We get Hatate gets off a couple of good shots, and I want to lay some praise on Hatate, as I say, because I'll never back away from it. I always say I judge players based on what I see for that 90 minutes in isolation. And again, come back to my 70-30 sort of thing. I felt that the 70% of Hatate's been poor. It's been poor this season. But my God, I'll eat my words, because what a performance. And that's the thing. And I put out a post on our socials where I shared it, and there's a big picture of Pirlo, and it says, Rio Hatate when he can be bothered. And it's so true. It's so true, because you look at it and you're like, thank God that was one of the days that he could be bothered. And that's what makes me tear my hair out with Hatate, because I know there's a player in there. I know there's absolute amazing talent. Just do it more often. Do it more often. And whoever's on the end of that, thank you very much. The original member, 420, he's gifted one out. So whoever is on the end of that, welcome. Welcome to the member community, if you will. I'm a supporter of the CWO podcast. Oh my God, he's just went mental. That's all happening. San Fran's getting out 5. Just love it. Love the support. Thank you very much, everybody. Really, absolutely love the support. And again, 5Es are going to get that wee badge next to your name. Welcome. Thank you very much. And you're very lucky if you get that. But the first half, it looked, again, one of the most complete and exciting performances that we had in a long time. And then again, we think we'll score again. 30 minutes. McGregor, a lot of folk were complaining about he kicks back his leg. But that turnover was happening quite a lot for Celtic. They were really slack in possession, and the amount of times that we were mop up, and it seemed like we had acres of space, really, really high press up the pitch, just outside their box where they were losing it, and we were getting in. Brilliant from McGregor. He's doing the right thing. It's just unfortunate that he gets the back of the boy's leg, but again, through and another brilliant finish, composed, cool, slots it past. The 2 goals that he scored that are cut off are just brilliant. Absolute, and again, look at we talk about Kyogo, 12 goals, 4 assists this season, and we say it's not what we've had before from him, and we say how a couple of games could have completely converted that. Well, there you go. We could have been up to 15 goals on his way out. But again, another fantastic finish. And then the third one, literally, this is why I thought we're just going to roll him. We're going to absolutely roll them because, 6 minutes, 30 minutes, and then a couple of shots in between after that, and the 30, 33, 35, something like that. Again, Maeda, brilliant ball, quick out. And I says Maeda doesn't have a final ball, but he did there. Brilliant ball in. Again, it's offside, but sweeps it home. And it was putting you through the ringer, wasn't it? Well, I don't know, did you have this? But I was watching my old man, my mum, and he came round, and I'm sitting, I'm going, this is going to be one of these days, isn't it? This is going to be one of these days where we have a brilliant performance and we do everything right, but fine margins don't give us a reward. And it's weird. I just felt so, I've never felt so exacerbated at the end of the first half, because it didn't stop there. Didn't stop there. Obviously, we get the penalty, and again, how does the penalty come about? It's Taylor. Now, again, another guy that I've got to lay some praise on. Happy to say it, because we've sat here and everybody has maligned Taylor. Everybody. And again, back to Steve's 70-30, we'll be getting bored with that. Taylor's 70%, Mr. Consistency, gives you his all, runs his cell into the ground, and his 30% are howlers that you can't get out of your mind, and it's a real shame. And last night, like he did in his last game as well, ran himself into the deck. Arguably, and I know, caveat, they're still the champions going in from their respective league, our young boys. I know they're the Whitman boys, no pun intended, the Champions League. But it's still a big game with big expectations. And as we saw, and we'll go on to it later on in the half, they had some good threatening players. They did have players in there. I think as the game got on, they thought, we could get something out of this, because they had a real rotation in their squad. They basically the B-side out, but they started to get into it. But take nothing away from that. Taylor was fantastic. Every blade of grass covered for me, snapping into tackles, breaking up play, coming in, overloading the midfield, helping out whatever he could. And it was his sheer determination that wins us that penalty. Just that will to continually drive and get in front of his man that gets hauled back. 38 minutes, you're like, right, penalty. Job's a good one. Big Arnott Engels to step up, been very good, but obviously the miss and then the retake and he scores, but pretty damn efficient from the spot. Oh, Arnie. It was poor. I would actually go as far to say, and I'm glad that Paddy's not on, because my God, I had to mute him up on the chat. Can I say unforgivable? What do you think? I thought for me, it was, I would say unforgivable, missing the penalty. Considering the way things had went with 3 chopped off goals, you had to score. You had to put that away. And can we say, I'm going to start a petition right now on CW, can we do away with wanky run-ups at penalties? Particularly wanky run-ups to penalties when it's a crunch game, when it was essentially a cup final. And I totally agree, Paul. I said that at the turn of the show. Keller was class, man of the match, undoubtedly fantastic. And this as well, yes, it should have been a retake. I'm surprised. I'm really surprised that wasn't a retake, because I saw they done the freeze frame where they tried to show the contact of the ball as if to say the ball had been hit when he jumps out, because he is in his line and then he steps forward. And I think they're trying to argue that it was right on the contact point that he sprung out. I think, to me, I'm not buying that. I think that you're looking at literally milliseconds of time. There's no way that he's been able to react that quickly. But what I will say is the stoppy starty run has got to come out. And you know, here's the thing, but the difference is, Brown, he does the starter right, but it's so fluid. And Lewandowski is the final boss of strikers, but Lewandowski puts his fucking foot right through it. That's the difference. And I think you saw the pressure. You saw the pressure on Arne Engel's face. He goes up and he just was trying to compose himself. The goalkeeper, and this is the one thing I've got. I think there's certain people. Lewandowski is just elite, and he is, as I say, the final boss of strikers for me at this moment in time. Forget Haaland. Haaland is a fantastic finisher, but he's not the complete package. That's Lewandowski. But anyway, back to Arne Engels. He's done it that many times now that it's really not that hard, in my opinion, for goalkeepers to start reading that. And essentially all that Keller done there was call his bluff. He knew he was going to do it, and he just stood. And once you make that step, you've nowhere to go. You've just got to put your foot at it. And that's what he done. He's turned around and went like that. Come ahead. Just stood his ground, waited till the foot's forward for the step. He's like, all he can do is now is hit this, because he can't step back and run forward and hit it again. Calls his bluff. Master stroke with the goalkeeper there. But really, for that period, for me, just deflated the atmosphere in the crowd a wee bit. I think it just vacuumed, it just sucked a wee bit of the intensity out of the crowd. I think I wouldn't go as far to say as it shook Celtic. I don't think it shook I think it shook Arne Engels. He didn't quite look the same for the remainder of that half. I know it was only 10 minutes of that, but you could see the ball went out a few times, and you could see his face. He looked a bit drained, and he knew the gravity of the game. He was under no illusions what that meant, and he knew with three in the net that were all cut off, and that could have been the turning point. And I do genuinely believe, see if that goes in, Celtic's confidence, because we're riding the crest of the wave, it goes through the roof. The atmosphere goes through the roof again to another level. The confidence goes through the roof. And I just genuinely think at that point, young boys of Bern would have just wilted. I think they would have wilted. I think they wouldn't have even bothered by bringing on some of their better players. I think they would have just sort of sealed, been consigned to their fate and just not rolled over, but just they would be happy to know what was coming their way and just sort of try and keep it, or we'll keep it at 1-0 or whatever. But no, for me, the penalty is unforgivable. I will never, ever, ever. I know the best in the world miss penalties, but for me, it literally is a gimme. It is a gimme. And if the goalkeeper makes a fantastic save, if you do everything right and you really make a clean contact, a good hard contact, and the goalkeeper just makes a great save, then sometimes it just happens. You've just got to go, well done. That happens. But the one thing, and I know I'll be sort of bereft, it's not criticism, it's an observation. He's had great numbers on penalties, but the one thing that I would say about Engels is he's scoring penalties, but he reminds me a wee bit of when Bruno Fernandes was scoring penalties for Man United, where he kind of just he rolls them in. There's never any huge amount of conviction. They're never like right in that corner, right in that side netting that the goalie can't get to. They're always in a almost savable position, and it's usually down to the contact that he gets. But look, that'll come. It'll be interesting to see if we're given the nod of confidence and he remains on the penalties moving forward. It's a moot point. It's neither here nor there, but it'll be very, very interesting to see there. But that's the only one thing I would say is a minor criticism, and it is extremely minor, and it's a moot point also because he's been scoring the penalties. But I've never felt truly mega comfortable. I can't actually remember the last penalty taker that we've had at Celtic where I've genuinely felt totally comfortable. Let me know who it was for you. But somebody that runs up and you're just like, it's in the back of the net, because they've got swagger. It's, you know, they're just going to smash it. The goalie's getting absolutely nowhere near it. And that's it. It's coming in here, as we've said, we've just welcome if you're joining us late. These are the three names that are going about there. Griff was decent. I did like a Griff penalty. Griff was he was a smasher. He liked a bit of power through it. But aye, something moving forward. But by the by, digressing on, we moved, you know, the first half, I wouldn't say fizzles out, but there was a wee lull. It sort of kills us back. We pick up that second half. I think that, again, we start out the traps really hang me. And what I did like is, I think that eventually, as the game started to eat on, the penalty miss was still lingering deep in the mind of Engels, and I do think it maybe deflated his game a wee bit. But he started off quite hot, if you remember, in that the second half. There was a point where it was just right after where he weaved through, and he gets a good shot off, decent power, but it's kind of right the goalkeeper, but probably maybe a good reactionary save, if you will, where he just sort of like puts his hands again and hits off his chest. But he looked quite sharp there. He looked like he was trying to make amends, and he was trying to get a lot more active. And then, of course, shortly after that, he does the wee nice sort of stab through assist to Maeda, just unlucky there. And then, very last but not least, sort of last real meaningful impact in the game was the corner that came off the back of that, which obviously Trusty just narrowly puts over. But I thought that, for me, Arne Engels, there was no coming back from it. I think that was him coming out in the second half, and it was a wee quick sort of 5-minute burst of real intense effort. And then when the things just weren't coming off for him, I think it was lingering in his mind, and it really sort of played on him, and he started to fall out the game. One thing that we say that he's got is he's got good delivery. He's got a good range of passing, generally quite accurate with his passing. Obviously, we saw that the opening for the first goal that was cut off. But it was weird, very uncharacteristic. There was a couple of big diags that were just right out the park, and, you know, simple passes that were just not finding their man. So I definitely think that just comes with age and lack of experience. I think that it really did deflate him, and then he quickly fell out of the game. And he was rightfully replaced. But I don't hold any sort of ill feeling towards Engels. I felt, unlike Paddy, who'll moan about it probably when he comes on, look forward to that, everybody. I thought he had a decent first half. I thought he was shown some of what we've been used to. He has been playing well. I had this argument with Paddy the other day where he just doesn't see it. Again, young is going to need, I'm not judging that player on the sort of judging until December. I want to see him continue a season. I think he's bounced back for that wee period out the team, and he's picked his game up, and he's looking the part. I think he's starting to find a bit of his feet in the side, and I think that with a proper pre-season, we'll really get the best out of him. I'm expecting next season that to be his Nicholas Kuhn type coming of age thing, where that's when you really see the best out of him. And again, hopefully, and I've said this, include Adamida in that as well. I'll still think that if we had a winter break and they had that sort of 2 or just over 2 weeks, whatever it is, to have a training camp and stuff, then I might be a wee bit more firm in my observations and at times criticisms. But the fact that they've not had a training camp proper, whether summer or winter, I think they need that. I think they do need that. It's fine going out every day and doing it at a training pitch, but you need that just daily, like round the clock investment in it, because training is training, but there's a lot of other stuff interspersed where you're looking at, you know, your breakdown of your upcoming opponents. There's, again, many moving parts, but when it's a training camp or a pre-season, it's just getting the fundamentals down, and I think both them need that to really kick on. I was talking to my mate Steve-O today, again, keeps on getting up. He's watching. Steve-O, how you doing, brother? I'll be watching, no doubt. But we're talking about, and just on Arne Engels, just because I was mentioning him there, what I would say about Arne Engels, and let me think about it, like, let me know what you think of this. For me, he has Paddy, he's been good. I said that he has been good. This is not a criticism. I says I thought that he was very good in the first half, and I just felt that he started to because he started to what you call it, he started to drop off a wee bit. But what I think is I was trying to put my finger on Engels, and I said it a wee while ago, and I says it will come with being in the squad for a longer period, finding his feet, blah, blah, blah. But at this moment in time, Engels, I think, he's a very good, don't take this out of context, I'm just a general observation. For me, at this moment in time, he feels like a jack of all trades and a master of none. And what I mean by that is when you think of our midfielders, or you think of any player in most positions, you instantly have an attribute or a thing or something that they do that makes them indispensable, where you say, that's what he's there to do, right? So, for example, if I'm looking at our midfielder, I think of Cal McGregor. Now, I know he's never going to be void of criticism. At times he's been bad, but generally speaking, you look at, or I look at Cal McGregor and I think, right, captain, making things tick, drop him deep, going to trust it, give me the ball. That way where he wants to dictate, he wants to pull the strings, he wants to try and make things happen. That's him. Give me the ball. Literally the captain, orchestrating. That's what he does. That's his role. Of course, there's more to it. He's adding goals and passing and everything else. But in terms of who is he on the pitch, who is he? He's the leader. He's the give me the ball. I'm starting this. Let's get going, right? So he's your linchpin. He's your starting point of the midfield. For all that I criticise him at times, you look at Hatate and you say, what does Hatate bring? Why should we play Hatate over him or him? And it is, as we say, it's the rogue element, it's the maverick. I hate that term, but it's the I want the ball, geese the ball, bursting forward, energy. Watch this, I'm going to try that pass. Watch this, I'm going to try that shot. He's all action. That's why you put in real Hatate, because horses for courses, right? We need a wee bit of sort of just somebody that is going to do something that you wouldn't think of. That's real Hatate. That's why you play real Hatate, right? Who else we got there? Bernardo. For me, I always say, why do we bring on Bernardo? It's like yesterday. We bring him on because he could keep holding the ball in a phone box. He's good if you want ball retention, if you want to keep it nice and tidy, nice and neat, very little mistakes. Yes, again, he's got good range of passing, but I'm just looking at one attribute that you say that's why he plays, that's why we bring him on. That's Bernardo for me. He's the guy that solidifies, he consolidates, he just tidies things up. You look at McCown, it's basic, it's blood snotters and blood and sweat and all that. It's I love the club. It's he's going to buzz about, he's going to wear his heart on his sleeve, he's going to bleed for you, he's going to snap into tackles, and again he's got creative. That's what he is. Aaron Engels, for me, at this moment in time, and again it's not a criticism because I've been singing his praises and I can see all the attributes I think he's going to develop on, but at this moment in time, it feels like he's got many good attributes to his game, but there's not one identifying thing that makes him go, you put your finger on it and you go, that's why he's playing. Now, folk will turn around and even myself will point to his delivery. He does have a good delivery and good ball into the box and things like that. But at the same time, I do feel that if we didn't have him in the team, is our deliveries from, say, Bernardo or McCowan that much a drop-off where you go, we should have had Engels on? I don't think so. So that's all I would say with Engels. I think he really needs to find his role, his key role that makes him the one to choose over the alternative options in the season. When I look at all our midfielders, I can see there's many attributes that all get various positives and they do multiple things well, but each player usually has at least one solid that you can hang your hat on. That's what I identify them as, and I just don't think yet that Engels has found that wee niche in the midfield. I agree that when he, as it's been saying, when the shackles are off, i.e. when I wouldn't call it a shackle, but when he didn't have Cal McGregor, he played well and he was doing the McGregor type thing. But this is the problem. He's playing alongside McGregor. So yeah, that might be his role when the very rare time you rest McGregor, but the reality is McGregor is going to be the mainstay. He's always going to be there. So he needs to find a way to work around that. He needs to find a way, or maybe the manager does. It's not all on him, But all I'm saying is he needs to find those wee sprinkling that he brings to the midfield that nobody else can. And I genuinely think that it will come. I think it will come. Do you know what I mean? I think it'll do. And again, some people don't like it. They're saying like ball retention. I'm talking about, you know, Bernardo. I think that I'm just saying that like in terms of that's what I associate with him. But I've also spoke about that low centre of gravity where he's got a wee mountain goat and he can hold on, he can drive at players and keep hold of it. But generally speaking, I think Bernardo's very good at keeping things tidy and showing things up and solidifying. Engels just needs to find that, and it will come. I genuinely think that it will come for him, and there's a reason that he's in the Belgian national setup, and I do think that he's going to kick on after a full pre-season. But at the same time, I'm not ignorant to other people's opinions, and I can understand why people might have reservations or concerns that he might be a phenomenal player and it just doesn't fit our system, because sometimes that happens. I don't believe that. I don't prescribe to that. I don't think that's going to be the case. But at the same time, I can understand that people would say that. But anyway, he goes off because his head falls out the game as far as I'm concerned. So for there on in the half, to get back to the action, I know we went off in a wee rabbit hole there, but I felt that as the game started to labour on, we started to look at young boys of Bern, started bringing on some of their main guys that they'd rested, that were bringing on that would have played normally. And it's because they fancied it. They saw that, I wouldn't say we were running out of ideas, but I think the fact that it wasn't coming off for us, and it felt as if we were frustrated. And I put out a tweet, and it's something that I've not experienced for a while watching Celtic, where I felt that sometimes you watch games and folk will say it's a tough watch and we're just rebuilding, or as Brendan likes to say, refocusing the point of attack and try to change, right? And sometimes you think to yourself, this is not happening, this is turgid or whatever, right? And you maybe think, where's the goal coming from? For me, we went through probably for about 60 minutes on to about 74, about 15, 20 minute period for me in that second half, where it was almost as if we'd been going to the well so much and we'd been creating so much with the ball in the net 3 times, we'd missed a penalty, we'd flashed shots by, the keeper had been saving, where it just felt where you're like, is this going to happen? And I felt as if that, strangely, it's the first time I've really saw it, where it ate into the players, but it wasn't because they were getting frustrated with the opposition. It was just like, what do we need to do? What do we need to do to get the bloody ball in the net to win this game? And that, strangely for me, put them out of sorts, but it was almost as if it became, the way I described it when I tweeted, I think I said something along the lines of, it started to get into hopeful and almost verging on desperate, where it was almost like we're still moving the ball forward, but it wasn't with the same level of purpose, and it just felt as if it was almost like we were looking around each other and going, right, now what do we do? Where's this come from? We're continually wanting it forward, but you know what I mean? It was I can't quite describe it to you. I know it sounds terrible. You're like, fuck you talking about, Steve? But it just felt as if we didn't have the answer, and it was eating into our confidence because we started opening up. And they were getting some right good chances in there. And, as I say, for 60 minutes up to about 70, our eyes, Sir Casper, that big fat guy apparently that can't dive, and if you put a direct shot at him, well, aye, right. What a double save. They were on top. There was no doubt that the wee purple patch in that game where they were on top, and it was all hands to the pump for them. But that double save, that for me was the real turning point. You need people to stand up and be counted all over the field in a night like that. But for a guy who had been next to nothing in the way he'd been tested, that double save was absolutely phenomenal. Phenomenal. And it was McLaughlin. It was absolute. His dad would have been proud. And it was the reaction. The first one, it's just a nice save. It's it's on the half volley. It's right at him, right. I mean, it is down the throat, but the power on it. And then the second he gets up for it, and maybe a wee bit fortuitous, but just the reaction to make himself big and throw his body at it, that really, really bails us out. And again, we need moments, and I thought the crowd were fantastic. The atmosphere was amazing, but I think moments in a game that breathed new energy and life into us, because yeah, you're off the hook, sigh of relief, but it was as good as scoring a goal. The reaction for him, for everybody around him, it was like, we're not going down this way, we're not going down like this, because let's be honest, and I hate saying in years gone by, that would have been classic Celtic. 3 goals cut off, and then boof, there's the sucker punch later on. You're just like that. Because we went into that game and we were looking at it, and as we says, we knew the script. 3 points put us through, but we started to get the absolute fear of God put in us when we started to realise that 10 points was probably putting you out. And nobody's wanting to go, next week down to Villa, who a win puts them into the automatic top 8. I know we can beat anybody in your day and all that, but you're looking at it and going, what? It's not happening. But no, that was brilliant. That was phenomenal. And I think we got ourselves back in the game. We started creating again. And then, of course, let's get on to it, because there's more action. VAR should have intervened for the penalty. That's my opinion. I'm taking that one. Maeda. Is that a red card? What do you think? Absolutely, Maguire. Save of the season. Save of our season. Saved our season in Europe. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Are you just getting this, by the way? It's just doing my head in. I get it. There's a storm coming. Tie down your trampoline. That's all I'm saying. That's been off 4 times. It's doing my head in. Sorry, digress away. That's what happens. See that there? It's away. See you later. But no, I thought we start getting into it. The Maeda thing. Is it a red card? Let us know. I don't think it's a red card. And I understand it, as they says, and a big heart said, it's reactionary. Now, the referee for me had a shocker. The referee was letting far too much go. It was stupid. Paul saying red card, yep. Yeah, it's stupid. It is. Aye, it is. It's, for me, he was getting battered pillar to post with that big guy. Give or take 5 minutes or so before it, he takes one right in the back. San Fran's, yep, soft, but it is, I understand. I do. I'm maybe unlike myself. I've got the green specs on. I don't wear them too often. I always try to be quite level and, not neutral, but I try to be objective, as you well know. But yeah, he takes one in the back, and what did you see it in his face? Did you see the look? He gets smashed with back, and as he was down, he had a look on his face that says, fuck off again. And see, when I saw that look in his face, he's going to do something here. He's going to do something. And he did. He got up. And it's a wee stupid kick. It's a wee stupid kick. It's petulant. What does this is something, does anybody know actually? Because I don't know. I've tried to look for it. What's the ban on that? Is it just the Villa game, or is it does it come under violent conduct? Is it going to be 2 games? Is it going to be 3 games, or just 1 game? Because I've searched, and I can't find anything on it. So what is the status with Maeda? Obviously, we get down to Villa. It doesn't matter. If we were to win, wow, anything out of it is just gravy on top. It's bonus. But yeah. That's the thing. You can't blame. You can't. It's a red. You can't blame. He was kicked all over the place. As I say, Snitch, when he went down, you saw the look in his eye. You saw it. He was absolutely fuming. The boy put a knee into his back minutes before. One game, Wilson says, absolutely brilliant. That's what I wanted to hear. Unless it's upgraded. Would it be upgraded? I don't think there's enough in it. I believe that, I know it's different. Maybe is it the same with UEFA? I know that certainly in Scotland, when you see big Willie Collum talking about it, they say it's violent conduct, and I think the term they use is excessive force and brutality. I certainly don't think that it fell into that category of excessive force, and it certainly wasn't brutality. I think it was just petulant, where it's a foul, but I think with the nature of it being a kick, that's why it's a straight red rather than just a foul, because they see it as being something of a deliberate act. So I think, yeah, I probably think that's there. But I saw another thing, and just a side note, it's kind of funny because apparently he's got the same amount of red cards as Morelos had for Rangers, which I found fascinating. But I like that. I like that's one thing I do like about Maeda. We always talk about some of our Asian players where they're, I don't know, maybe a wee bit too nice and they foul somebody and it's, oh, I'm sorry and help me up on that. Maeda just boots them and looks at them and walks away. I like that. I like that wee bit of fire. And I want somebody, surely there's somebody out there. I was kind of hoping just for funny, because I saw folks saying, oh, it's a chopping kick and that. I want somebody to put a wee like sort of sound effect over that. I'm all over that. Get that on it. That'll be funny. You know, like a whoosh. He's one of them on the Maeda red card. I think that'd be funny. But nah, Maeda does play with an edge, and I like that. I do. He's got the fire. He's got that wee bit of aggression in his game that we need. But nah, red card. Yeah, of course it's a red card. As I say, that's me sort of sitting there. Maybe just being green tinted about it, but I think it is soft. I think it's very soft, and a lot of folk are saying game's gone, no, utter woke nonsense. It's one of the ones, but he's got to be sent off. It makes no bearing, thankfully, on our situation, because. But there's another question, obviously. Well, no, I'm not even going to say, because it would have happened. I was going to say, if we didn't win last night, would we have sold Kyogo? Of course we would have, because we're not getting the Champions League, and of course we would have sold them. So it's weird that we're doing that, but no, it would be nice to have him against Villa. Of course it would. It's going to cost any team problems, but at the same time, I think we just go into next week and we can play freely and we can do what we want, because if we get anything out of it, it's gravy on top. It's a bonus. Of course, we'll get down there playing a system and trying our best to win. But what I mean is maybe there'll be an element of freedom, breathe, we're through. That's part of it. I wouldn't have liked to get down there chasing something. That's all I'll say, because the optics it, they can make the top 8. I think we can still, if we actually win, we can very, 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 very slim chance of getting through. So interesting. But what's also interesting is when you look at the way that the knockout or the next phase, the playoff or phase or whatever you want to call it, could go, well, some of the teams that we could get are actually quite favourable. But then, of course, if depending on how it goes, it could be Bayern Munich, it could be Real Madrid. And I know that people out there want to play the best, and I don't want to play the best. Give me the shitest team that we can. Who has the shitest team that we can get? Brest. Give me Brest. Yep, give me Brest. That's who I want. I mean, they're probably very, very good, very well organised. Welcome, a late addition here to the chit chat, but I think, does anybody know the other teams that we get? I know that Brest is one of them. I know that depending on how it goes, it could be obviously Real Madrid again, or it could be Munich. I don't want any of them. You like playing these teams when it's the occasion and it's the league, but when you get to the sort of the knockout phases, you want the easiest, the path of least resistance. That's what I want. Give me the path of least resistance. But yeah, get into it through end of the game. I think loads of positives to take from that game there. Obviously, not even touched on it, the goal, and it's something poetic about it. And I love that. This is what I love about Celtic Twitter, and this I love about Celtic fans. Stuff gets dug out. The last time we played, 1993, almost the same situation. 1-0 OG. Do you believe in all that? Fate and all that is meant to be? That's absolutely brilliant. Love it. Love it. Absolutely brilliant. What's the chance? Like, genuinely, what is the chances of that? That the last time we played Young Boys of Bern at home, 1993, we win 1-0 with an OG. And then last night it happens again. I like it. It's cheesy, and it's all birthday care pish, but it's fairy tale stuff. It's literally like unimaginable. I love those wee silly nuances, those wee things that happen in football where it's like, what are the chances? And again, that again, another very unique thing about the game 1993 is we played in that weird Celtic top. Obviously, you sometimes see it behind me with it was the Umbro with the rounded collar and the Umbros through it, but it was solid green, and we had the patch, but it was all green on the back of it. So a very unique game in terms of the shirt, and obviously a very unique game that was echoed again all these years later in the way that we score. So absolutely, I love that. But Ida comes on, we needed him. You know, I've been on here and I've criticised. I think it was we were up to 12 games, 552 minutes on the pitch, and he hadn't scored on his own accord. They putting the ball into the net. And if we're being honest, in a lot of those games, was he even doing his core job of testing the goalkeeper and things? No, he looks a wee bit lost. He looks a wee bit lost. And hopefully that's something that's going to pick up, because by God, we need it at this moment in time where we are sans one striker, so we are missing one. Hopefully, as we say, whether it's Christy Gardner or somebody else, somebody to come in, but we need him. We need him to step up right now. He needs to have his Giacomakis moment, because no matter what, he's starting the next game. He is starting the next game. So it's imperative that all that, you saw the I wouldn't say anger, but all the chanting and the energy and all that he was yelling out last night, that kicks him on. And I will give him it. Again, what a ball. Let's just start with Hatate. What a ball. 70-30. That was his 30. That was his 30% coming right out to the top there. That Hollywood pass, he was doing it continually through the game. There's a couple of brilliant passes. The one early on that he pings through to Kyogo, he kind of fluffs the lines when he tries to lob the ball and just knocks out. Some beautiful passing for Hatate. Easily by a country mile, his best performance of Celtic this season. And again, he's another guy that should take and harness what he done last night. He can do it, and we know he can do it. There's no reason why he shouldn't be doing that time and time again. But that pass was an absolute world, as I say. It was like the flip reverse of the one that Engels plays through for Kyogo for the first chopped off goal. It's a wee bit further back, but it's that nice big curvy bend shot round when it comes round. And Ida, really good forward play, excellent forward play. Actually reminded me of a long forgotten striker. Oh, do you ever remember the goal? I think I want to say it was against Hearts. I'm not sure. The ball comes through for deep, and it's similar position. Good strikers plays, get the defender at his back, holds him off, and he rifles it in. Very, very, very reminiscent. That obviously without the end product of the goal going into the net by the striker, but very, very good strikers play by Ida there. Done everything right. He gets on the end of it, good run, very physical, holds off the defender coming up from behind him. I think, to be honest, it's a good shot. It's a good shot. There's good power in it, but Keller's just having an absolute world day. Sometimes when I get things like this, I'll ask Paddy or I'll ask Paul or whoever it is, I'll say bad miss or good save, and I'm very much in the good save, the good stop, the good stop camp with that one. Fortunas, it bounces off and it hits off the defender, goes in. It's kind of funny. I'm not saying I told you so, because I didn't tell you so. I think I said 2-0, but at the same time, when I asked for predictions, I says, I don't care. I would take 1-0 in off the arse of Cedric Eaton. Well, it went in near enough off the arse of somebody, one of his pals, and it doesn't matter how they go in. All it matters is that they go in, and then you hold on to it. And we were made to work for it. And again, my MVP of the game, just simply because of the gravity of the saves, the final word goes to Kasper Schmeichel right to the death, because that could have went anywhere. And he's there. Save. 3 phenomenal key. Well, it's not a phenomenal save, but you know what I mean. 3 key, huge moments for Kasper Schmeichel. Outstanding. He's there and makes a save right at the death, because again, in years gone by, the sucker punch would have came, disappointment, snatched from the jaws of glory. It's the way it is, but not today. Not today, young boys. Not today, Scottish mainstream media. You're not getting any gloating today. Get it up, ye, because Celtic are through. And no matter what anybody thinks or wants to say about the quality, and I've seen it, the quality of who we played doesn't matter. I don't know if you saw it. Go and seek it out. I think it's TalkSport, where the Rangers fan phones in. It's the female that's on the panel. Can't remember her name. And the guy's like, getting her at large. Why are you talking about this? She played Nabe Day and all that. It's brilliant. It's hilarious. And she just destroys him. Go and seek it out. It's hilarious. And it doesn't matter. We beat what's put in front of us. We've got the points. We've qualified. And when we look back on it, now that it's done and dusted, we can maybe have that wee critical edge, because we've got to, as fans, we've got to look for that. We've got to. She did San Francisco absolutely. Go and seek it out. It's brilliant. It's appointment viewing, by the way. But to finish up, yeah, it doesn't matter. We can look back at it, and it's all about why do we nitpick? Because we just not demand, but we aspire for the best for the club. And I think when we look back on it, there's no doubt in my mind, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. We're coming to the end of this chapter, if you will. Hopefully we get a favourable draw and we can continue on. You know, my dream's not, like, I'm not listening. Of course I'd like to go to a semi-final. Of course I would. I'm not daft, right? I want us to get through a knockout round. That's what I want. That for me is huge, tangible progress. A favourable draw is going to help us there. There'll only be good teams, because you've got to make that grade. 12 are falling by the wayside. You've got to make that grade. So absolutely, for me, tangible is where we are through now, but get that monkey off our back, win that knockout tie, shut people up, ram it down their throat. That's what I want, and that'll look. But when we look back on it, this is why I like this Champions League format. It's been very favourable to us. Yes, it has. There's been some tricky games in there, and we've stepped up to the plate and we've done our bit. But again, with the wee nitpicking, the hindsight and the looking back, because we can do that now. By God, does Dinamo Zagreb feel like a real misstep? A real misstep. We could be sitting here with that victory there. We could be sitting hovering around. In fact, I think it would have probably put us in the top 8. Sliding doors, slim margins. It's the first experiment in this new format. We're going to have to try and qualify. This is why we need to tool up. This is why, as Danny Boy's saying, we need a prolific striker, or we need a solid. San Fran, thank you very much. Glad you are tuning in. It's nice to just look back and have a wee chat and break it all down, isn't it? And look back and be reflective. But think about that. Think about that. We could have been in or on the cusp of the top 8. Unthinkable. And that's why. And I think the manager, when this is all done and dusted, and he's asked to reflect on it, he'll obviously be going, but he'll be looking at Dinamo Zagreb and thinking, yeah, that was a misstep. And maybe Club Brugge was also, for me, I felt that was a misstep, but they were a tidy team, but we didn't rise to the occasion. We didn't have our moment there. And coming back to finish off, if anybody out there from another persuasion wants to slag us off, just remember, they're slagging us off for stumbling by the worst team in the Champions League. Well, I hate to break this to you, but you get put out yet by the worst team in the Europa League. Meep. So there you go. Take some of that. So there you go. They have not been very good. But aye, look, we're done. We've went an hour and a half. Let's see how it pans out. Plenty to wake up to. And yes, in other news, It was funny tonight, wasn't it? So can we do this? Are we just going to do this? I've also seen you have been talking about it. Let's do it. Yes, I believe that it is already Manchester. Already, we've all seen the footage. I know areas of Manchester. There's areas of Manchester that are normally on fire. It's going to be double tonight. It's going to be double tonight because the madness in the crowd was just sucked right out of them, and we all know that they can't get up the road because of the big bad annoying storm that's sending you those messages. So, yep. Thoughts and prayers to the street furniture of Manchester. There we go. But do you know what? We'll be having a party in the Champions League. They've done their bit. They'll qualify. But do you know what? I'm happy with it. We have shut a lot of people up. We've proved a lot of people wrong. And that's that. So, yes, absolutely. Happy days. Thank you to every single one of you. We're nearly around about 100 there at a peak. Still 70s here sitting there at the moment listening to me. So, thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Plenty to chew the fat over. You're going to wake up to seeing Kyogo standing on a new top and that red rain top. Are we going to get that exciting announcement? Is it going to be Jota? Is it going to be Christegarden? Is it going to be KT nice and early? Is it going to be all of them? Is there maybe another twist in it? Is there going to be a Louis Barry coming out of nowhere? What is certain, the pathway is clear. We know what we're doing. Champions League, top of the league, and a cup to defend. Money in the bank that we had. Plenty more money coming in. Come on, Celtic. Come on, Nicholson. You've done it. Pedro, you've done it. You've managed to do the unthinkable. You've managed to sell 2 guys for 25 million quid and get them back for 8. Good business, I hate to say it, but spend fucking money. Get the money out. Get the wallet out. Give us the players that we need. Jota on the wing. Kuhn on the other wing. Give me a Christegarden through the middle. Give me a KT and a back 3. All over it. Kick as you mean. Go. You know what I mean? Kick on. Start as you mean to go on. January transfer window. Set the stall out for the rest of this season. Give ourselves a shot at this knockout Champions League malarkey. Invest. I know it's only 2 games, but get them in now. Give ourselves that chance and make sure they're in the building early so that we can hit the ground running, because we're going to have to qualify for next season's. And by God, after tasting what we've tasted this season, the Champions League, with this format, I want more of it. You want more of it. And I'm pretty sure the manager, the players, they want more of it. So anyway, thank you for every single way you're joining us. Take care of yourselves. God bless. Until the next time, as always, hail, hail.